Hi guys, hi everyone. My name is Oleg Gubar, and I am an owner of immersive production studio ARRR. I have had a lot of roles, from creator in big advertising agencies to team lead in Snapchat. My most powerful initiatives were realized for the White House and Joe Biden's team. Just 1 year ago, I left Snapchat to create my own business, and today I am so amazed to stand here and share with you our experience in a sustainable project. Our logo represents a small cat which was saved from the streets by my wife. For us, it is a symbol of empathy and love, a reminder that people can save the lives of others. I am proud that we are Ukrainians. Our team consists of 4 people. Half of our team is located in Ukraine now. Most of our projects were made under the fire of Russian missiles. But this fact makes us stronger, smarter, and more united. For this 1 year, we have created more than 12 commercial projects based on Snapchat, Meta, TikTok, and 2 completed AR location-based games. One of those games, Waste Warrior, was dedicated to saving our planet. The first client who came to ARRR wanted to create location-based game for piloting in Singapore. Client's idea was to combine the educational pipeline in maps in augmented reality. We have started from research and choosing the platforms. Platforms like Snapchat and Instagram have a great distribution, but very limited map functionality. So people also don't want to download any new unknown applications. So we built a bar so user could immediately dive into the game. No downloads requirements. 1 month was spent for choosing the platform and only 3 months for development and tests. The game was produced to reinforce existing Singapore National Environment Agency campaign, which consists of draining resources, recycling guidelines, map with locations of blue bins. Each hostel in Singapore have a very iconic blue bins for recyclable materials. But 14% of trash found in blue bins can't be recycled. It shows the gap in recycling education. With our game, people learn how to recycle properly. Our goal was to increase the level of awareness about garbage sorting. The video?
About the local recycling program. The NEA has provided all housing areas with big blue bins, but 40% of trash in these bins is contaminated or not recyclable. Waste Warrior teaches citizens how to recycle correctly and highlights initiatives like Cash for Trash events. To play, scan a blue bin at a Cash for Trash location to kick off a trash sorting game. Sounds easy, but location AR is often hard to find and a pain to access. We built Waste Warrior as a fully web-based experience so players can find it easily on the map and start playing right away. The player who sorts trash correctly is a true warrior who is rewarded with a unique artifact, an AR helmet. Our creative was inspired by local culture. The helmet borrowed from historical styles and a Singapore icon with a little help from generative AI as a starting point. We used metal shaders to render light and face tracking for occlusion and shadows. Trash monsters started from rubber gloves. We animated them to capture lighting and emulate flying. We modeled trash from NEA guidelines and added physics and sounds. In collaboration with the NEA and other stakeholders, our goal is to drive adoption, then measure any correlation with the national recycling rate. At the current rate, emissions from household waste are on the rise. Engaging climate-aware youth to step up to Singapore's 30% target recycling rate could keep this in check, up to 20% lower than the status quo. Singapore's emissions are a drop in the ocean, but our creative can be tailored to recycling programs anywhere. With Singapore as a model, we'll go to market in more cities with local partners to chase that 20% impact at global scale.
So, it's very important to make the product which can be used daily. Our game really teaches people to sort garbage. That's very simple. When you have done one round, you automatically starting recycling correctly. You are a true waste warrior. Waste Warrior demonstrates how ARRR can provide a unique capability of training and get away of real problems. The 4 of team members provided a full stack realization. It's important to say that client helped us a lot with her comments. On the other hand, the client gave us an absolute creative freedom. It was an amazing job together. The game was nominated as finalist at AWE United States in competition Fight Climate Change. We know that private company collectors engage with citizens on a daily basis in collection activity as well as informational events. These are monthly events that work on collaboration of resident communities, when people can come to recycle every month. So kids would hang along with their parents and play with our game. We got a lot of feedback from people who work with sustainable project. The game was made a huge impact of awareness of people in environmental questions. What's next? Based on Waste Warrior game, we are already making a location-based ARRR game for MasterCard. The user should collect the forest spirits from Ukrainian movie Mavka at touristic resort Bukovel and get a prize knowledgeable speaker. For us, it is new mechanic because we are looking for combining of maps, education, augmented reality, and real prizes. That could be a lot of concerns from the users, etc. So we should provide this mechanic and check that all will be okay. So with this game, people will observe interesting locations to get more information about beautiful nature around, and this campaign will start by the end of 2023. Our next step of building sustainable future will be at next spheres, like medicine and healthcare, army, education, and rayon fashion. We could combine our approaches to make our ideas better. So we're looking forward to applying ourselves where we will be most effective. And our thanks, my great thanks to the audience, thanks to Janine Jung and our team members, thanks to my teacher, Mitya Lavreka, and thanks to everyone who joined us here.
Thank you, Oleg. My name is Reedah El-Saie, and I'll be just sharing with you some insights around our submission for the AWE Climate Education Prize submission, for which we were one of the finalists. So I'm the founder of, what's happened here? Oops. Aha, it's working. I'm the founder of Brainspark Games, and as I said, my name is Reedah El-Saie, and this is a brief overview of our submission. biggest threat to humanity, yet not taught in the curriculum. Brainspark is an immersive educational mobile games app, educating on the causes of and action required to tackle climate change, connecting virtual with real-world action. Our rapid prototype incorporates high-quality, beautiful, creative design fusing AR, mini-games, AI, and our proprietary NeuroGames technology. Players experience awesome immersive games that engage and inspire children and adults, where they learn about planet Earth and the solar system, damage caused by natural disasters, and how they can stop this. They clean the ocean in our water games and create a green city based on their continent thinking about the impact on climate in their local towns using iconic landscapes. Here to sell with children, parents, educators and activists, our climate game is easy to use and includes diverse characters and bite-sized games to engage neurodiverse audiences. Players learn about climate and exploration scenes, create a beautiful earth with water, air and sun, adding iconic landscapes and living things destroyed by climate change. They build and localize green city and complete quizzes throughout the game. 710 million children are exposed to the risks of climate change. 618 million under 18-year-olds play video games. There are 3 million schools and 1.9 billion children under 16. Brainspark is designed to scale and localize on a global level to revolutionize the way children learn and action climate change. Brainspark Games has had 70,000 downloads, been awarded 5 Innovate UK grants, listed for Holland IQ's Top 200, nominated for Unity Best Social Impact Game, finalist for Barclays Entrepreneur of the Year Games Awards, ASU GSD Elite 200, and Creative Industries 100 Ones to Watch. We play tested our prototype with children, educators and activists, and they love it. Thank you. So ultimately, we're on a mission to revolutionize the way children learn through play, and we want to engage every type of learner so that no learner gets left behind. For us, the key problem that we were tackling was that climate change is the biggest threat to humanity, but it's not taught in the curriculum anywhere in the world apart from Italy. Climate information is fragmented and is just not very child-friendly. We did lots of research around this, and children are unclear around what action they need to take in order to mitigate against climate change. Often there's a feeling that they need to turn the lights off, pick up rubbish, and so it's limited to just these areas of understanding. So we've been building an AI-powered eduverse of educational mobile games using augmented reality and pioneering NeuroGames technology. So we were given an Innovate UK grant back in February 22. It was a very small grant for a 3-month project, and we focused on human-centered design research. So we wanted to make sure that we engaged every type of individual, every type of child from different walks of life. So we went into areas of deprivation. We then ran several workshops with our Border Brilliant Brains, which consists of about 100+ children in different corners of the world, and they give us feedback, they tell us what they think, they tell us when they think something is rubbish, they don't hold back at all, so that was really insightful and sometimes a little bit painful. We went to youth centres, we went to areas where there wasn't much awareness of climate change, because if you go to the same communities where climate change is really at the forefront of their thinking, you get the same responses. But the people we really wanted to engage were the ones that were a little bit detached from climate action, the ones where poverty, socio-economic deprivation was actually one of the biggest kind of contributors to their lives. We then ran several workshops with universities, politicians, educators, local communities, teachers and parents to really get the feedback around what they perceived to be the challenges for the children that they were working with or for their own children. We went to lots of different community groups. We recorded lots of feedback from children as we were prototyping and iterating. We went to lots of schools to get them to try out the prototype, tell us what they thought. And we weren't aiming to kind of have a finished, polished product. It was really very much rapid, low-cost prototype. We recorded feedback in multiple different ways and then separated the children's feedback, which you can see in the coloured bubbles, from adult feedback. And there was a real distinction between how children perceived climate change and what adults thought was the issue for climate action on behalf of children. This led us to our very rapid prototype. So we had intended to develop just one rapid prototype, but the team was so passionate that we ended up developing 3 little mini games. We tried them out with lots of different children, parents, teachers in school, in our offices, in community groups, and kids absolutely loved it. And that's kind of where we got to. So I guess what we thought would be helpful is if we just talk about the inspiration for our projects, and then we'll talk about some of the challenges that we face and what impact we think that will have on future generations. So for me, as a mother and as the founder of an education company, the core reasoning behind this was that I just felt that there was a lack of child-friendly climate information. And since billions of children were playing games globally, it just seemed very obvious that we ought to have a really child-friendly climate game. Maybe, Oleg, you can share a bit more about what your inspiration was and how it got started?
Yes, with great pleasure. First of all, I like very much combining of some historical things with new technologies. And we are very lucky that our project was dedicated to saving planet, to when we could combine different things like historical and technical things. And also, for sure, I'm very happy that this project was a commercial project.
And what, I mean, for me, the challenges that we faced was one of time and funding. We had very, very little funding and very, very little time. And then even with the AWE, there was very little time to kind of refine the prototypes. That was one of the biggest challenges. And actually, surprisingly, when the team were working on the prototypes, everyone felt so passionately about what we were building that they wanted to keep on building it. We started with 3 partners and ended up with like 36 partners at the end of it. Do you want to maybe share a bit more about the challenges you faced and how you overcame them?
Yes, very interesting point, because for us, XR, it was a very new platform which we should build on, and we should go through very, very huge amount of limitations which for now exist in WebARRR. So all of these points should be learned before we have started the project.
And in terms of like the impact that you want your project to have, like, so for us, we wanted to really make sure that there was behavioral change created from the games, that we created that educational awareness, that we partnered with governments, climate organizations, schools, councils across the world to really raise the awareness around the causes and the action required to mitigate climate change. So what would you consider a measure of success in the future? What's your kind of mission?
Also, very interesting question. I believe that if we could avoid any metrics, we understand that if we save money for recycling, if we teach people to sort garbage properly, we save the money and we save the time which could be needed to something new, something other things. So I am impressed how very simple game could save time and money.
And have such a big impact.
Yeah.
I mean, what was really interesting in the course of our project, we ended up being approached by the Department for Education in the UK, their sustainability team, because the UK is launching a climate GCSE in 2025. So one of the key kind of takeaways from our project was that we can now develop a GCSE climate game from what we're working on. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add. Maybe we can open the floor to just a few questions. We have a short...
I could also ask you several questions like yours, because I know your huge experience in the games, and it's very interesting to work in one sphere. So what was your inspiration when you have created your product?
So for us, it really was trying to make sure there was another game within our Eduverse, because we've got English, maths, history, physics, lots of subjects, but to make sure we had something that really tackled climate education, but also weaving climate education across all our different subjects.
Okay, and challenges which you will go through? You want to go through?
Yeah, so I think, as I mentioned earlier, the challenges were very much around the limitations of time and funding and the passion. Really, we had so much passion around what we were doing that the team wanted to carry on working around these things.
Okay. And impact?
Yeah, so for us, our focus is really on building out the games in a much bigger way so that we can have lots of these different topics released on an ongoing basis.
Great.
So we have a few minutes. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Yeah? I don't know if you want to just shout out.
Hello?
I think it's that one. Might be
Come to us. I will share my microphone.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hi. I have a question, and I think you're the right people to ask. And it's been something I've been wondering a lot about education for young children in general, because not a lot of my friends grew up on the countryside, and maybe lots of people are here that have. But I think one of the most valued the things I've learned and value still the most was probably the education I had between 5 and 12 years old, because I grew up on the countryside, and lots of our lessons were based on going out into nature and just touching stuff. And then the teacher would explain, this tree drops this nut, and this bird eats this nut to survive, and then this eats that bird. You know, this kind of like circle of life that I think lots of children now don't really experience, or experience within games, kind of like what you are also kind of creating, which is great. But for me, this kind of connection to nature that especially city kids don't really have, and there's knowledge I just have just by being in nature that lots of my friends don't have, like basic things, like some things about mushrooms. Why is Earth looking like it does? Why is there even different colors? You know, like why do trees look different in this sort of environment, and why do they look like this there? And all this kind of stuff. I always wondered how technology and AR can actually make children understand this part of nature, because this is what still now makes me appreciate nature and life and the whole topic about sustainability and why we should respect nature the most. This is what taught me, and it's still something that I still learn from now, from these experiences that I had when I was 5 to 10 years old. So how can we do that?
So I think one way that we're tackling it is that we're designing our games so that we're connecting the virtual with the real world. So as a mother, the last thing I want is children to just be stuck in devices. So our objective is that children learn more, much faster through games, so that they're given more time to connect with the real world around them. In our prototype, there was a little bug game. So you build a virtual bug hotel. I think you play it for about 4 minutes. And we actually tried this in one of our summer camps that we run with children. And the children played the game and literally spent all day building the bug hotel in the local community park. So for us, it's harnessing the power of technology and connecting that with the real and the natural world. I don't know if you want to add anything, Oleg.
Yes, I also would like to add two words. For my opinion, it's very important to make people more flexible and take their phones and go away to the nature. And in our projects, we're looking for possibility how we could connect real world and augmented reality and push the people away from their houses, from their chairs, and make more give them more information about nature with their lovely phones. So as for me, it is a very good question, great insight. And in each game which we will produce, we would like to include this point to push the people run into the nature and deep into forests, etc. Yes.
I think there was another question there. I think we've only got time for one more question. Go ahead.
So, thank you for your speech about the education work that you're doing as well. So I'm an Unreal Engine developer, and I was working at a firm in India which was developing some educational content. And one thing I realized was that very often their development did not really incorporate the users at all. That's why I really appreciated how that the whole user-focused thinking that you brought into your workflow. But in, countries that might not have as much research in pedagogy and might be a bit more traditional in their schooling, there is also friction to bring that design thinking into the schooling system, bring that conservative schooling system into our flows and make them understand the value of what we're trying to do. So what kind of challenges and strategies would you recommend to counter such situations?
I think that's a really interesting question. I think it's about building relationships. I mean, I was asked earlier today in the morning session around how do you kind of take your games into schools, because, EdTech is so tough to kind of take into schools. But what we've done is built really trusting relationships with schools and educators. So we're not selling them something. We're trying to make them understand that they have an opportunity to co-design. And most of the time they understood that. We've actually ran workshops with schools overseas as well. And there was a real, in South Asia actually, there was a real hunger and a real understanding of the potential impact of co-designing. So I think it's finding ambassadors that understand it. In every school, even in the UK, there were people that just did not understand what we're doing. I don't know if Oleg has some views on that.
As for me, very interesting question. And I believe that before any product should be launched, it should be some part of preparations, and a huge part of preparations. And before any game or any product will start, as developers, as initiators, you should make some work with teachers, with the schools, how to make your product more applicable to the program, and how to make possible more softly involve the children into the game, into your product. So preparation is the main part of each product, as for me. Thank you.
I think that's it. We've run out of time. Thank you all so much for coming and for listening. Thank you.